أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Chairman mu na wanga taro Haji Galiu Usari Chairman din namu babanmu Sheikh Alhaji Amin, brother mu Dr. Alhaj Tafabe shi kuma ya tashi da zanga shi yana tare da mu. Brother mu COP Alhaji Muhammad Suraj shi kuma yana tare da mu a wannan wuri. Shi ne sister mu Hajiya Jamilatu Ibrahim, Deputy CEO, Northern Development Authority, da ita sister kuma Hajiya Adiza Baba Isa, ita kuma tana tare da mu da brother na Sheikh Muhammad Nazir, masu martaba sarakunan mu, malumman mu, Madina Uballi, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I ask that I be allowed to do this kind of PowerPoint presentation because the topic that we are going to discuss borders on citizenship. And citizenship is a matter of law. I didn't want to stand and do presentation, but I want us to have a conversation, an interaction, so that we can understand the issue that has been the source of our worry since independence. It looks simple, but it's a bit complex. It looks simple, but it is a bit complex. And I will also want to entreat all of us to know our history 2 or 3 generations back. Who are our great-grandparents, who are grandparents, who are our parents, what was their tribe, which language did they speak, where did they stay, where were they born, etc. If you were born today and you don't know, you should ask. It is the reason why our chiefs are there, our ulamao are also there, our grandparents are there. If you are fortunate to have met your great-grandparents, then so be it. So, in order to understand who is a citizen of Ghana, we need to go a bit back into history. It's very important that we know all this. Were you born in the Gold Coast, or were you born in Ghana, or you were born? It's very important. Were you a British subject, or you were a British? Your great-grandparents, were they British subjects or British citizens? So I want us to go back a bit into history, the period before 1948 or before independence. So before independence, Ghana was divided into 4 territories under the British colonial administration. Shemun had the Gold Coast colony, that's the coastal areas. Shemun had the Ashanti colony, which was formed in 1902. Shemun had the Northern Territories, that's the northern part of Ghana. And then Shemun had the Transvolta Togoland, created in 1916. Yoshi, where they constituted Ghana after independence. Let's proceed. Now, before this, the colonial administration had 4 countries in West Africa. They had Ghana, which was then Gold Coast. They had Nigeria, they had the Gambia, and they had the Sierra Leone. Now, before independence, there wasn't any specific law on citizenship in Ghana. But we had what we call British Nationality Act of 1948, which regulated the subjects or the inhabitants within the territories of Nigeria, Ghana, the Gambia, and Sierra Leone. The British Nationality Act of 1948. Then how do we determine that somebody was a British nationality or not a British nationality? Now, this is what the law is saying. Every person born within the UK and colonies, Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, the Gambia and Sierra Leone, after the commencement of this act shall be a citizen of the UK and colonies by birth. Before 1948, if we were born in Ghana, you were Ghanaian. If we were born in Nigeria, you were Ghanaian. If we were born in the Gambia, you were Ghanaian. If you were born in Sierra Leone, you were Ghanaian. Everybody born in Ghana, which was then referred to as the Gold Coast, you were Ghanaian. And let's listen to this. Before you can determine that somebody is a Ghanaian, it's not about tribe. It's not about place of birth. It's not about your hometown. It's not about your race. There is absolutely nothing like first-class Ghanaians, second-class Ghanaians. No. No. There's nothing like that. Once you are a Ghanaian, you are a full Ghanaian, entitled to all the rights that any other citizen of Ghana is entitled to. Now, let's go to citizenship by descent. A person born after 1948, this is before 1948, that's before 1948, but a person born after 1948 shall be a citizen of the UK and colony by descent if the father is a citizen of the UK and colonies at the time of his birth. If we were born after 1948, you are a citizen of Ghana by descent if your father was also a citizen of the UK or in any of the colonies in Ghana. So the houses from Nigeria and part of Cameroon that migrated into Ghana, and some of whom, or majority of whom, were born in the Gold Coast before 1948, and after 1948, all these people became citizens of Ghana by the operation of this law. Okay, let's proceed. Now, after independence, 1957, after independence, there was this law that was passed, Ghana Nationality and Citizenship Act, 1957. Now, by the operation of this law, who became a Ghanaian? Every person born in Ghana, whether before independence or after Ghana's independence in 1957, became a citizen of Ghana if either of his parents or grandparents was also born in Ghana. It's period. You were a citizen of Ghana if either of your parents was born in Ghana or grandparents was born in Ghana. You qualify to be a citizen of Ghana. So I've said that we should try and know our history. If you ask me of my history on my mother's side, as for my father's side, it's very simple. On my mother's side, my mother's great-grandparents migrated from the Ivory Coast. There were 3. The They got to Nalergu and two remained there, and they got married, and they married Mambus. One also went to Gambaga, and he married a lady or a woman who was, of course, a Ghanaian. And they migrated to Abofo, where they stayed. They gave birth to my grandmother. That's my maternal great-grandmother, who obviously became a Ghanaian, who in turn gave birth to my mom, obviously a Ghanaian. And my mom got married to my father, who is also Banda, and obviously all of us became Ghanaians. So if you know the root of your ancestry, it becomes easy for you, so that wherever you go to, it becomes easy when you are asked, where were you born? You are able to tell where you are born. Where do you come from? You should be able to tell where you come from. I'll come to that pretty soon, because some people have the tendency of making mistakes when they are asked where they are born. They say, oh, I was born in the north because you are from Zongo, or I have a hometown in the north. When indeed and in fact, the person doesn't know anybody in the north, and the person was not even born in the north. I've said that citizenship is not determined by your hometown. It's not determined by your place of birth. It's not determined by your language, your ethnicity, or race. It is a matter of law. Who are you? Who are your parents? Who are your grandparents? Who are your great-grandparents? Let's proceed. Birth outside Ghana after independence. A person born outside Ghana after independence became a citizen of Ghana by descent if at the time of his birth, his father was a citizen of Ghana by birth, registration, naturalization, or his mother was a citizen of Ghana by birth. You could have been born in Nigeria. You could have been born in Germany. You could have been born anywhere in the Gambia, Sierra Leone, anywhere. But once your father was a citizen of Ghana by birth, or your father or your mother was a citizen of Ghana by birth, it means you qualify to be, again, it doesn't matter where you were born. So your place of birth does not matter at all. Let's proceed. These acts came after the 1957 Nationality Act. Every subsequent government of Ghana has had to introduce a new citizenship regime. So in 1961, we had this Ghana Nationality Act of 1961, Act 62, but it's not different from the 1957 one. It's the same. It's just an improvement over or upon the 1957 Citizenship Act that I just referred to. Let's read a bit of it. A person born before 1961 was a citizen of Ghana if either of his parents was a Ghanaian. Again, a person born outside Ghana was a citizen of Ghana if either of his parents was citizen by birth. So it's straightforward. It's simple. Okay, so Ghana Nationality Decree 1967, NLCD 191. That is the era of the military rule. And when you read the provisions of the decree, they are not different from the preceding ones that I've already read and explained or interpreted to you. So because of lack of time, I want us to skip it and go to 1969. The Constitution of Ghana also dealt with, the 1969 Constitution of Ghana also dealt with citizenship, and in a very brief manner, I want to read the relevant provision which I think is of interest to all of us. Every person who was a citizen of Ghana before 1969 shall continue to be a citizen of Ghana. It therefore means that if before 1969 you were a citizen of Ghana, after the coming into force of the 1969 Constitution, your citizenship could not have been taken away from you. Once you are a citizen, you continue to be a citizen. There have been cases reported in our law report where some people were taken to court because they claim the government that they wanted to deport them back to where they thought that they came from. And on each of this occasion, these people have succeeded in claiming their citizenship of this country. There is one that is titled Bruce and the Commission of Police. It went to court after a lengthy deliberation to and fro. The court held that once either of his parents was born in Ghana, or grandparents was born in Ghana, or great-grandparents was born in Ghana, and he was born outside Ghana, it doesn't matter where he was born, he was a Ghanaian. Let's go to Article 6. Article 6 also talks about a person born in or outside Ghana after 1969 became a Ghanaian if either of his parents was citizen of Ghana. So it's straightforward. So let's go. 1971 is not different from those ones that I've read to you already. And then it talks about before independence. This one talks about before independence. This one talks about after independence. So we can skip those ones and proceed. Then in 1971, there was another Ghana Nationality Act. Section 1, 2, and Section 4 are not also different from the one that I've read. But just out of abundance of caution, let me read Section 1, 2b to you. I think if we left something. The something is missing over there. Or he was born in Ghana, something is missing over there. But let's read Section 4. A person born in Ghana or outside Ghana after 1969 became a citizen of Ghana if either of the parents was a citizen of Ghana. So once your parents, either of your parents or grandparents, was a citizen of Ghana before this said date, automatically you become a citizen of Ghana either by birth or by descent. Earlier on, I did state that it is important that we all, if we don't know our histories, we should begin to learn or look for our histories. Who are we? Who are our parents? Who are our grandparents? And who are our great-grandparents? Let's proceed. The 1979 Constitution also came with its own formulation of citizenship law, and it's not different from the one I've read. And then 1992, that's the current constitution that we are using. And this is what Article 62 says. A person born in or outside Ghana after 1993, that is, it is in 1993 that the Constitution of Ghana that we are currently using came into force, became a citizen of Ghana if either of his parents or grandparents, his grandparents is or was a citizen of Ghana. So in order to know your citizenship, you have to trace back to the period just before independence and immediately after independence. Let me also state this, that apart from citizenship by birth and descent, descent here means that either your father or your mother was a Ghanaian, your grandparents, or either of your grandparents was a Ghanaian. You can also acquire citizenship by marriage. By marriage. If a Malian comes here and marries a Ghanaian, either a man or a woman, that Malian that marries a Ghanaian doesn't automatically, let's note this, doesn't automatically become a Ghanaian. If he wants to become a Ghanaian, he or she wants to become a Ghanaian, then he or she must go through what we call registration. There's a process that he or she has to go through before he or she becomes a Ghanaian. And once he or she becomes a Ghanaian, and even after the dissolution of the marriage, he or she will still continue to become a Ghanaian until he or she renounces his or her Ghanaianship or Ghanaianness or citizenship. A child of less than 16 years, if he's adopted, he or she is adopted by a Ghanaian, that person becomes a citizen of Ghana. It doesn't matter where he was born, it doesn't matter the ancestry of the child's parents. The child's parents could not necessarily be Ghanaians, but once a Ghanaian has adopted that child becomes a Ghanaian. It could also be by naturalization. It's a process. It could also be by registration. One can also acquire dual citizenship. Before, that was prohibited, but now you can acquire dual citizenship by becoming a Nigerian or a Senegalese and at the same time doubling as a Ghanaian. Let me rush through. What are the takeaways? The takeaways have been listed. As at 1948, all inhabitants of the British colonies in West Africa were British subjects or citizens. All persons born in Ghana before or after independence were citizens of Ghana, if either of their parents or grandparents were born in Ghana. So they are there. Let me skip. Persons, let me skip. Okay, so having dealt with citizenship, I want us to talk about something which has become very topical, especially within our Zango communities. I remember when I was the Zango coordinator, a lot of people used to come to me complaining that they go for A or B, they are told that they could not have come from any part of this country because of their name or because of their tribe, etc. This is a systemic problem. It's a systemic problem. It's not the problem of Party A or Party B. It is something that has been associated with our system since time immemorial. The fact that maybe you are Wangara, or you are Hausa, or you are a Musi, the mistaken impression by some people is that how come down a Wangara man says that he comes from Akufo, or he comes from a part of Kumasi, or he comes from Mochizongo, etc. If you ask me where I come from, I tell you I come from Akufo. Akufo is predominantly Akan or Asante community. It is owned by the Ashantis, but that is where my great-grandparents, as I narrated, came to live. They gave birth to my grandmother, they gave birth to my mother, where they married, and you were born in Kumasi, but you also grew up with school there. So I has come to my hometown, and nobody can stop me from using our as my hometown. It's like the same way, if we're Hausa and you were born in Mosizungu, or any suburb of Accra, where you grew up and found your parents where they were living, that place is hometown. And I've said, hometown is not a determining factor for citizenship. Okay, so in fact, there is no definition of hometown in our laws. There is no definition of hometown in our laws. But hometown can be referred to as a place of birth and where one grew up, lived, or living. Or where one's parents were born or lived or still live. Or where one grew up. Or where one has familial ties with or ancestral or tribal connections or affiliations. So that is hometown. The Constitution doesn't define hometown. Okay, so it's difficult, legally speaking, to pinpoint to a provision that says that a hometown is this. A hometown is defined as this. That is not anywhere in our laws. However, a birthplace is the specific geographical location where you were born, not necessarily where you come from. You could be born in your hometown, which can also qualify as your birthplace. You could come from Medina, but you were born in Kumasi. Okay? Or you could come from Medina, you were born in Medina. Okay? That is why in the definition of hometown, I said where you were born and you grew up. So there's nothing like a birthplace determining your citizenship or hometown determining your citizenship. So let's go to rights of a citizen. The rights of a citizen, that is a hiking Ghana. Every citizen of Ghana enjoys every right that any other Ghanaian enjoys. The rights are plenty. They are, in fact, they are spread over our laws. And then the 1992 Constitution is not the only law of Ghana. There are plenty of laws. So I can't refer to all of them. But I have taken my time to just let out a few of them. Right to life, right to practice any religion, right to join any lawful association, right to vote and be voted for, right to join any of the security forces. It is your right. Just as any person in Ashanti or Bono East, Northern Region, Central, can join any of the security forces. Like our brother is now a very big man in the police service, a Hausa man, a Fulani, a Wangara man, a Muslim man, or any other person who I would call a settler citizen qualifies to be recruited into any of the security forces. Because there's no discrimination in the enjoyment of the rights. Okay, and you can seek redress. You can go to court and assert your right, that my right is being trampled upon. So the court should give your rights back to, or should protect you on the matter of your rights. But you see, the responsibilities of a citizen are tied to the rights that you enjoy as a citizen. You see, it's not about the two are inseparable. And the Constitution says this. It lists a number of duties or responsibilities that every citizen of this country must uphold or observe. One, for instance, to uphold the Constitution and the laws of the land, to respect the rights and freedoms of others, to help maintain law and order, to continue, blah, blah. It's plenty, and the laws are scattered. They are not only within the Constitution, that's the 1992 Constitution of Ghana. We have several laws that detail out rights, that detail out responsibilities and duties. Let's proceed. Okay, I'm done. So, if there is anything that we didn't understand or don't understand, because I've had to rush through the presentation because of lack of time. My number is Madam. You can call me anytime. If you want further and better particulars, I'm ready and willing to give same to inshallah for us to understand the historical context within which our citizenship law is situated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Banda Law Consorts, they have given us a lot of education.